Must be Thursday. Must be Family Matters with Kevin Petersen. How are you, sir?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good. How about you?
I cannot complain. So, did you get all your 20th anniversary Jaywalker stuff? Is it 20?
No, and you know why? There was a lot of discussion about that internally, and Casey's response was, "This is for people that refer to us. Don't worry, there will be plenty for everybody, but right now." And I was like,
Oh, behind the
"Right?
curtain talk. I like this. I like the
I
gossip.
know,
But
I
it's
know. You didn't hear that from me." And
it's 20. It's the 20th year, right, of Jaywalker.
yeah, isn't that
Uh,
great? Isn't that amazing?
yeah. So,
Uh,
I
Yeah, yeah,
appreciate
no,
it.
it's awesome. I saw it when I was out there, and I was like, "Ooh, this shit's nice. The stuff's nice." And
Yeah.
so I'm sure the swag truck, the swag bag will be coming eventually.
Yeah. Well,
So I can
I am
represent.
not going to wear the sweatshirt until you get one, Kevin. So I will tell that to KC. KC had already got on me that I should be wearing it during Family Matters, but I said
Oh,
you
all
should
right.
you should talk to my wardrobe person. So
Yeah, well,
I got a whole team. So
me too. Me too. When I see him next week, I will say, "Hey, we are perfectly happy to make this a produced by Jaywalker engagement." But that would require some, support. And I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I am happy to have this be, Kevin Petersen, Jaywalker Lodge. So
hey, I can be bought fairly cheaply. I'll just say
cheap.
that. So,
Swag is really, we don't need money. We just need
I don't
swag.
exactly. So, all right, we do this every Thursday to the best of our
Yes, we do.
ability, and we answer questions and show what family matters. We do our best to kind of stump Kevin, but we ask questions. I mean, everything is kind of open. So, family matters.
Yeah.
We talk about anything within the family: addiction, mental health, substance misuse, abuse, whatever it may be. Like, it doesn't have to just be substance abuse. So, we'll do our best to answer them. And if we can't answer them, we'll just ignore them and move on to the next one. No, I'm just kidding. So, we'll do our best to answer them and get you an answer. So,
Bring
all
it.
right, Kevin, you're what? Any burning desires? Anything on your mind?
No, today's opening day for baseball, you know.
It is. I mean, my Milwaukee Brewers are actually on national TV. So,
What?
yeah, they're playing
Oh
the
my God.
Yankees. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a big
okay.
deal.
That's why.
Yeah, but
That's great.
I mean, in Milwaukee, you know, this is kind of like the Super Bowl for us. I mean,
I know. I told
whew,
you one of my fraternity brothers was at one point was the play-by-play announcer on cable for the Brewers, right?
what?
Matt Vescursion.
Yeah,
He's
Matt
my
Vasgersian?
Yeah, he's my fraternity brother. Yeah,
The hell? He's on like
yeah,
the MLB network or something still or something.
yeah.
But
Well, now he's I think he's doing the Angels.
oh,
Yeah.
he got yeah, we knew in Milwaukee that he was going to be way too big, but I think we got a
Yep.
year or two out of him. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah. He was in El Paso, and he got called up, and and uh,
wow,
and then
small
then it
world.
was. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's my boy.
Brew crew family, but already Kevin, what the
What do we got? Hit me, baby.
so how do we balance supporting our struggling family member without without letting them control the entire family dynamic? So it just
Ooh.
seems like this mom says it seems to be all about my 19-year-old son for quite some time, and uh she just has the feeling that the rest of the family has just been kind of left behind.
Yep, totally get it. Okay, so I'm taking a new tack for
Uh-oh.
our discussions. Okay, because
You didn't
here's the
bring this
thing.
up in the production meeting.
Well, it just came to me, but I think it's important. Mom, the answer is you have to read my book. Watching a 30-minute conversation between Jay and I is not going to solve your problem. You have to go on Amazon. You have to buy my book. It's only $10. And you can get it on Audible. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it in paperback. It's called Chronic Hope, Families, and Addiction. In there, I outline exactly what you need to do and the boundaries that you need to set. And there's no quickie answers. There's no 30-second snap answer to this question. What you need to do is set boundaries with them and say, hey, we love you, but going forward, there's a new set of rules. And honestly, I outlined 3 simple boundaries. No drugs, no alcohol. You have to become self-supporting, and you have to start taking care of yourself through therapy, psychiatry, and potentially some 12-step stuff, whatever. But here's the thing. The family has to change first, not the individual.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. Call me crazy. But that's the answer. The family has to change first. And Jay and I are perfect examples of that. We just were, plowing along in our stupid selves. And when our families changed, it forced us to stand up and take notice and do something different. But when the family was like, I really want him to change. I really want him to make the decision. They were standing around waiting. And finally somebody said, this is never going to happen. You guys have to draw the lines and hold the lines. That's what has to happen. Then the next question is, how do we do that? Buy my book. And trust me. Let me tell you how it works over at Amazon. Okay, before everybody thinks I'm trying to launch my own, moon rocket company. Of the $10 at Amazon, I get $3.50. Okay, Jeff Bezos gets $6.50. So let's just be really clear. This is not a money grab. Okay, but if you want to change the family system, if you want to help your 19-year-old, that's what you have to do. You have to set the boundaries. How do you do that? You read my book, you walk through that process, and then away we go. But that is the only answer. As much as I love talking to Jay every week, and we get this question every week, and I guarantee you these families are like, okay, but how do I do that? Okay, well, that's a longer discussion. Buy the book. Yeah.
Well, I think it's the belief that they need to be ingrained in. They have to start the process of change before actually. I think everyone thinks that the process of change starts with the individual. Reality, the process of change actually starts with the family, and reaching out for help isn't starting the process of change. So I think that's where most families kind of, do not hear or cannot comprehend, rightfully so, because it took, my family forever, but the process of change starts with the family and not the individual. And I think too many people struggle to comprehend that.
You're 100% right. Yep.
And they also have this belief that, we cure the individual and all our family problems will go away. So
they're looking for the magic pill, the magic therapy, the magic thing, and it just doesn't work that way. So your neighbor's dog is back.
Yeah, I know. I tried to move it. I tried to move and then all of a sudden it got real quiet. And now anyway.
I got it.
If they finally get sober, will they even be the same person I love?
God, that's a great question. And the answer is yes and no. Okay, so, and here's the answer. All the good parts that you like of the sober person, yes. But there's going to be some parts that are going to change also that'll probably come as a little bit of a shock to you as well. They might start learning how to stand up for themselves. They might start learning how to set boundaries within the structure of the family, which will make you uncomfortable. And because what happens is when the individual gets sober, and in the family system. Let's take that last question and roll it forward. Okay, so that last question, we're going to pretend like it's the same people. What do we do? Buy my book, change the family structure. Okay, great. We did that. Now he's sober and he's different. Right. For two reasons. One, because he's sober and he's behaving differently, which is what you wanted. But here's the challenge. He's also he's not gonna be back when he was drinking, when he was roller coaster, drunk, sober, drunk, sober, drunk, sober. That behavior pattern is gone. So now he's going to be sober and he's going to start being more self-reflective and taking a look at himself, which means he's going to take a look at his system and his family system and say, oh, I noticed the family has some stuff that they need to deal with as well and address. And so he's going to be different, as well as, I mean, I always hear this from the families. I just want the old guy back. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want the old guy back. You want the new guy. And the new guy has all the good parts of the old guy, but he's also going to have some new parts that are different and are more introspective and have more dignity, integrity. You know, he's going to be consistent. He's going to be an adult, but it's going to force you to behave the same way. So we're changing the system, and then it just perpetuates deeper into the system, which is great for everybody. But I just want to be prepared that, yeah, you're going to get the guy you love. He's going to come back, but he's also going to come back with some self-respect, which means you're going to have to change as well.
And I think families, I mean, in most cases, I'm not saying like this, and it happens in every case, but mostly the mom or something. But I mean, these family members get so used to rescuing and being concerned and, you know, like having their day and year and lives revolve around, you know, the addict, because they're probably, you know, who knows what we do in active addiction. But I think it's interesting what when you were talking, all I remember is how my family, mainly my mom, had to kind of ease back on the whole rescuing kind of, or taking care of me or doing everything for me. And so, I mean, yeah, we can connect these two questions with the family changing, but I mean, the roles have to change. Like the rescuer has to kind of stop rescuing, really.
Well, and that means so what are they going to do when all of a sudden their role has changed? They're going to have to start taking better care of themselves and not being so dependent upon their role as taking care of somebody else, and because they don't need it anymore. And that's where the family tends to get a little freaked out, because they're like, well, wait a minute, my job was to be, the fix it person, the cleanup person, the problem solving person. And he doesn't need that anymore. So now what does he need? He needs an adult relationship. He doesn't need the, the parent child relationship. Yeah. So that's going to require the family has to change as well.
So, but I love this, asking a clinician this.
Uh-oh.
So I think that I would like to believe that they're early in recovery or something, but maybe not. Just in general, the question is, how do we know, Kevin, Jay, that if therapy slash, all the things we've done for our son is just a waste of money, or is it actually making a difference? Like, how do we know with all the the meds? I mean, it's a long email,
Yeah.
but all the doctors, psychologists, the meds. I mean, how do we know if there's even a change happening?
Well, that's a great question. And the answer is, basically you tell me, are they changing? Is their behavior different? Are they, first of all, well, okay, let's go back to the three boundaries, right? So this is great. You're putting all this time and God, it's like all three questions just blended. So, what do we do? Okay, great. And then, okay, so now they're sober. Now what? And then, okay, how do we know if this is actually working? Great
I
question.
did this on purpose, I guess. Like
almost
you think
like,
I just put this on, show together on the fly and just look up emails. There's a lot of time that goes into this.
I know. It's because you're so awesome. That's what it comes down
It-
to.
this is
So,
exactly like it goes in Chronicle. Anyway,
oh my God. Oh my God.
all
So,
right.
okay, here's the deal. So if you continue to hold the boundaries, the three boundaries of no drugs, no alcohol, become self-supporting, and you have to start taking care of yourself, you should be able to answer that question by yourself. Are they sober? Yes or no? Are they self-supporting or becoming self-supporting or working towards that? And are they going to therapy? So, and is their behavior changing? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then you need to have a sit down. We need to have a powwow and talk about what the hell's going on. Like, hey, we don't mind paying for all this and doing all this, but you're still a pain in the ass. And that's not what we didn't sign up for that. We signed up for the you get sober and become a better person program. And if you're not into that, that's fine, but then we're not into paying for it. And that's a perfectly acceptable thing to say. Accountability is the most important thing in the lives of a sober person. And I don't mean mom and dad are managing their sobriety, because they're not. But if you're paying the bills or they're living at home, you have every right to say, hey, I expect to see some results along the lines of different behavior and sobriety and becoming self-supporting. So I'm a huge advocate for that, and I think that's where somebody like you comes in. Now that we're pitching each other, because they're going to need someone to sit them down and have that meeting. Because I think it's critical to have like a weekly meeting when you're assessing all this stuff. Is this happening? And I also want the person that's getting sober to have a voice and say, I'm doing my job, you're not doing your job. You know, and so it's important that everybody comes to the table and everybody's prepared to have a conversation. Ta-da!
Well, I mean, the measuring stick is probably going to be different for everybody. So I mean, I think families need to not, you know,
Yeah.
overshoot the mark or whatever. I mean, most families kind of want to see this immediate change, and obviously, and then if talking about clinical trauma or whatever, better than anyone that kind of comes in time. So I think that the measuring stick has to be adjusted, but as long as you're trending upward, I would always say, because most families want you go from the drunk a-hole to the patron saint in a week or something, or they did 30 days. But so I
Yeah.
think, I think it's, I think you raised an interesting question, because families are mostly kind of, patient or something. But, at certain points, the family's like, we're throwing, we've been paying a lot of money for several months now. And so
Hmm.
it's interesting. Yeah. I don't know what that measuring stick is, but, like I always would tell families, anyone that I work with, is, if they're trending up, I mean, sometimes they need to take bigger steps up, but as long as they're not going back, and when they do make mistakes, how are they responding to those mistakes? Because that's also a measuring stick, is, how are they responding to anger, fear, and resentment, and so forth like that. I mean, if they're not lashing out at mom and dad anymore, that, you know, most
Yeah.
people in the normal situation, that's not a big deal, but they're changing behavior slowly. So it's an interesting measuring stick.
And we have to have that conversation. There has to be a layer of accountability where you're getting together regularly and saying, hey, super proud of you. You're doing great. But let's start talking about you being more financially responsible and us being less. I mean, the longer you stay sober, the more we feel it's time for you to step up. So let's start seeing some of that. And we also want to point out that, yeah, you're sober and we're really happy for it. But you leave your dishes all over the place, and you leave piles of laundry all over the house, and you kind of treat us like we're the maids at the hotel. That's not working for us. you know you're welcome to live here, but we need to see some change here also. And it's perfectly okay to say this. I mean, that's where families are like, oh, I don't want to threaten his sobriety. I'm like, you're not threatening his sobriety, you're making him be a grown-up. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
that. I'm
Like
totally
they're
with
on
that.
thin ice or something, and I don't want them to bust through the ice. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
exactly. So it's,
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
and
like, mhm.
I mean, just this whole conversation. I mean, the only thing bouncing around my empty brain is going to 30 days treatment and going right back home is,
Oh no.
you know,
Yeah.
now people, I hope people are starting to pick up. If they're picking up anything, obviously, hopefully, first thing, if the family changes before the individual changes, that's when real change happens. But just going to 30 days and, all this stuff that we're outlining cannot happen in 30 days.
Nope. And I mean, generally, if you read the book Dopamine Nation, Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford talks about 18 to 24 months for the brain to come back online. So you want them in a controlled environment for that, as much of that time as humanly possible. And it doesn't all have to be inpatient. I mean, it doesn't have to be the most expensive. It can be moving down, but they have to have, again, accountability. There has to be accountability. And when they start learning that and that becomes part of their rhythm, then we can start giving them more and more freedom and see how they do. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that because 18 to 24 years, I've got 16 years
Months.
sobriety,
Months.
and so
Months.
oh, no. When's my
I
brain starting to work? Like
was like,
18 to
man, I
20
don't know what you're talking about.
I heard you
Years.
say 18 to 24 years because I got 16 years and I still act a fool sometimes. So I still got. Thank you for giving me permission to be a fool for the next 2-3 years.
Oh hell, we all do.
That's all I heard. But
yeah, we're all
it's
goobers. Yeah.
No, it's. I mean, you're right. 18 to 24 months. I mean, and people talk about the measuring stick. They want to do it in detox and 30 days of treatment, and you go right back to my change happened when the family started changing, but I also took some time to realize that I needed to work on myself for a long, long time, longer than most. Like I was in treatment for 10 months and then another 6 months in sober living and then therapy for God knows how many years after that. So,
but that was successful.
It was, yes, it was. And through it all, family learning as on the go too. So, I mean, it's, I was going to ask the question now, the name, your codependency, Beatty, she passed away.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh,
What's her name?
Melody Beatty?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh. I mean, I can understand that. I mean, she was probably getting up there, poor thing. But I mean, my goodness, she had a huge impact on the world.
You always push her books, and so when I said,
oh yeah, she died February 27th in Los Feliz. Oh my goodness.
Whew, I'm glad I didn't put that out there before. Like I
know before it happened. Yeah, yeah.
I went back on Google and I was like, I hope I'm not putting this out, but
yeah.
I knew
that's
saw
really
it.
Cool.
I was like, Kevin, I'm sure I was going to send you a text, but I probably got busy doing selfish things.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I really appreciate that. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
She may be gone, but her books live
on. Her
on.
legacy lives forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right, Kevin, we'll do this again every week, and
next week
we'll see. We may add sponsors. Who knows? But I'm not wearing Jaywalker swag until you get swag. I'm standing my ground.
And I appreciate the unity and the brotherhood, and I will communicate that on Monday. So let's move it. Who knows? We may have some sponsorship.
All right. I'll talk to you. Bye.